guys, Chris Walker here. I'm just checking out my large scale customs I built. I've got quite a few of them that I've done over the years, and I really just love them because it's just neat to be able to see your favorite casting in such a large scale like this. It's just ridiculous. Not to mention, it's very cool in your collection, especially if you're that one guy that has all the castings or all the models of one casting, and you know, this just accents it. You have them all around it and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool. I really like doing it. You know, I've been customizing for my whole life, even back in my younger days when I was spray painting Hot Wheels on a piece of cardboard in the street. Well, as you can imagine, that didn't turn out so good, but that's for another day. But you know, I never set out to be the large scale guy. It just happened one day on accident. What happened was I went to Walmart and I bought a model car of a '67 Camaro. And I thought, you know, this one I'm gonna do all candy paint. I put a number on the side. I'll make it look like a Hot Wheel with some, you know, red stripes on the tires and all that. And I looked at the tires, it didn't have them on there. I'm like, well, I can't build a Redline replica if it doesn't have Redline tires. So I thought, well, what do I do now? So I figured, well, I'll make my own tires and make it look more like a real Hot Wheel. But I'll try and make the tire look just like the little Redline ones that pop off. So I stole one of my wife's candles. Yeah, she found out later that didn't go over good. It was a brand new candle. I melted it down and poured it into a shot glass. Then put a bolt in the middle, so once it hardened, I could pop it out, put it in a drill, and lay the drill on the side while it's running and work it like a lathe and get that perfect shape with a little lip on the inside of the wheel. When that was done, I carved the face of a Redline rim, and I really liked the look, so I molded it and made 4 more. That way I can put it on the car and I'll have a Redline. I thought, well, as long as I'm on a roll, I might as well make the engine make a Boss Hoss or a heavy Chevy. And then the more I looked at it, I'm like, well, the chassis doesn't match. It's got too much detail. The interior doesn't match. It's got way too much detail. So I got sheet plastic and I made all new interior, all new chassis. And then it looked like a Hot Wheel. I painted it pink. People loved it. Everybody's asking me, oh, I gotta have one, I gotta have one. So I built a few more and here and there. And everybody's, you know, oh, that's so cool, that's so cool. So I built 5 or 6 of them for the next convention coming up, which would have been 2004 in LA. Or Irvine, maybe it was. I brought like 6 of them out there. I was friends at the time with Amy Boylan from Mattel. She had to have them. And she said, yeah, I bet you I can get Mattel to make these things. It'd be pretty cool. I said, yeah, that would be very cool, because then I can just keep buying them and customizing those. I don't have to make them. At the time I had, you know, the Boss Hoss, the heavy Chevy, Diora, Volkswagen Bug. I had a couple Beach Bombs, the 442, the little coffin, the Demon, and I can't remember what the Silhouette. I had a couple Silhouettes too. So she said, "Yeah, I'm gonna get a Mattel to make this." I said, "Okay, cool. You know, we'll see how it goes." Well, along the way, they had a nice Hot Wheels display at the Peterson Automotive Museum. So I go visit the Peterson every time I was out there, and she let me know, "Hey, you know, your stuff is in the Peterson." I thought, what? So I'm the only customizer as it stands to have my Hot Wheels customs on display in the Peterson Automotive Museum, which is very cool. They had the Silhouette in there, and in the Hot Wheels display with all that stuff for the anniversary of Hot Wheels and all. It was so cool. Then I find out later they had a birthday for Elliot Handler, and it was at Mattel inside their building, and they set up a nice Hot Wheels display of different things throughout the years, and they used a couple of my cars in that display. So some people at Mattel sent me the pictures of it so I can share them and all that, and I was appreciative of that. So it's been really cool. And then next thing you know, a friend of Mattel sends me a picture. My green heavy Chevy I made, it's in a Mattel packaging that's a mock-up sample package. I thought, well, that's pretty awesome, you know. Yeah, that's salesman sample, whatever. We're gonna try. That's just a mock-up. We're gonna sell these and all. I'm like, whoa, okay, cool. It's actually being done. So I thought that was cool. And it wasn't long after, a year maybe, and there they were on the Redline Club website. They had the blue heavy Chevy in the packaging, and then they had this one, the Boss Hoss, which I thought was very cool because it was one of my 2 favorite cars, along with Beach Bomb. And it was a large Redline, and they were offering it was like $25 or something. It didn't go over as a hit too much. You know, people thought it was too much money for what you got. and they wanted to made of metal and all that, but I thought they were awesome. And so I bought a couple, cases. But it was cool to see that Mattel did release them, and I was happy I had some kind of hand in that, and so that made me happy. But over the years, people always say, well, how do you do it? Every time I make a new one here and there, and do you use a 3D printer, and what do you do to make it? And well, I wish I had a 3D printer. It might make the process easier, but I'm too stupid to know how to use CAD to make the thing, so I got to do it the old-fashioned way on my desk by hand. So what I do is I make it out of flat sheet plastic. And you could pretty much make anything out of sheet plastic. You glue enough pieces together, sand it in corners, sand the edges here and there. You got the curves you need. You can build it any way you like it. It's all in your imagination, what your mind can think of. You'd be surprised what your mind can think of too. So people always want to know, when's the next one? When's the next one? What's the wildest one? What's the coolest one? Well, I got to tell you, the wildest one I ever made, a friend of mine, Joseph Wiggins, came to me. He says, hey, I see you make these large scales. I collect the steering rig, and I'd really like to have a steering rig in large scale. I said, okay, well, which one? He wanted the one with the white trailer and the red cab, and I said, I could do that. It took me a while to convince myself. I said, okay. Then he says, but there's one catch. The steering rig needs to have the clear wheel on top, and it needs to actually work. I'm thinking, wait a minute. One, I don't know how to make that thing work. And two, where do I get a steering wheel that big? The thing's the size of your fist. He said, you can do it. I thought, well, okay, I'll try and make it work. So I figured out how to make a clear steering wheel. I made that work, and I made it actually steer. And that thing was probably like that long. We took it to the convention the next time. It was the Nationals. And I thought that was so awesome. Everybody liked it, and it was my favorite one up to that point. And so that was probably the coolest one. But I think the latest coolest thing I ever did was Mattel came to me for Larry's 50th anniversary for his dinner. And, they always give some pretty cool different dinner gifts for all the Mattel employees, for how long they've been there and things like that, and they honor them. But this was Larry Wood's 50th, and I thought this is like the coolest thing ever. And I was so happy to be asked to make this that there was no way I would say no, no matter what. And what they wanted was two of Larry's favorite cars, the Bone Shaker and the Passion. And I talked to Larry later that night. He couldn't believe it, because I've been friends with Larry for a long time. And he was so happy about that. He's going to display it in his garage with all his other goodies. And so that made me kind of happy. I was pretty cool with that. The year before, I made a large display that had, a gasser, a Boss Haas, and a heavyweight on it. And it was huge. And that was presented to Mattel for the 50th anniversary. And I thought that was like the coolest thing ever also. And that currently is now at Mattel in their in the design headquarters in a glass display case, which I thought was so awesome. I got to go there and actually see it in there, and that'll almost bring a tear to your eye, being able to make something that they appreciate like that. But I've always had a great relationship with Mattel, and I was happy that that's where that ended up, and that they all really liked it. So that's been really good. I'm happy about that. So what's my next one? Well, I decided. The next one is going to be my favorite casting, or one of them I collect, the Highway Hauler. First gen Highway Hauler, not the second or third or fourth or the 50th generations they have. So, this is going to be my next casting. This will be a large scale, probably maybe that size. I don't know, I got to map it out. But you'll be with me. Join me in the next video. You'll see me make this from scratch, start to finish. It might be a series of videos. I don't know. I haven't gotten into it or know how it's going to be. I mean, nobody wants to sit and watch a 45-hour-long video. This ain't Discovery Network. So I'm going to make this. Hit the like. Subscribe to me if you want to follow me and check that out. And follow along. And in the next week, I'll try and get a video together where I start it and I'll show you how it's done. Follow along with me. Have a good night, guys.